government made in some other areas. We urge on government to take funds from the contingency fund and immediately and without delay come to the rescue of the suffering traders of Edum.
Blue light.
I know that those here at Blue Light, I believe that within a year, if government is indeed committed to constructing these stores, government will be able to do it.
If you're a cattle owner and you have cattle and your cattle stray and they are coming into the domain of KMA, be rest assured that from the 1st of May, those cattle will be killed. If you're a cattle owner and you have cattle and your cattle stray and they are coming into the domain of KMA, be rest assured that from the 1st of May, those cattle will be killed and be given to the Kumasi Central Prison for feeding. Especially the areas from the airport leading up to Menchia. I cannot sit here and let visitors get to this beautiful airport. And when they're driving to Menchia, all that they encounter is feces from cattle. This is unacceptable. There's something we're going to do. And that is where I need your support. As for me, I don't like reporting too many things to the police. I don't want a situation whereby we'll put in place a police team, we'll go arrest people, and then they go to the police station and they find their own means and they are back on the street. That would be a waste of time and resources for me. So I have my own democratic military style, which I'll be implementing. When we say leave this space, and you don't leave this space, and I get there, I am not lucky, and my boys are with me, there and then, we'll beat you. There, in the middle of a doom. If you're not lucky, if I'm alone, you'll be lucky. But if I'm there, and my 10 boys are in their pickup with me, with their hips, trust me, there's something we're going to do. And that is where I need your support. As for me,
$11 million was paid for Pualuku Dam when there was no even sand at the site. Mr. Speaker, I heard the former finance minister saying that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is terminating, and that he's a Terminator 1. Don't worry, you've not seen anything yet. Mr. Speaker, the Pualugu Dam, those who chop that money will be terminated. Mr. Speaker, you see the agenda 111, $400 million. You will account for it. If you don't, termination. Mr. Speaker, you see the most expensive hole that is dug in Accra. Mr. Speaker, you see the cathedral, the most expensive hole in the whole of West Africa. Mr. Speaker, do you know one of the most shameful aspects of that hole? They went to Israel to go and import stone, a huge gravel stone. They carried it, paid money for it, to come and put, are you building voodoo house? Mr. Speaker, that is more than $50 million. Wallahi, termination. We will terminate you if you don't pay that money. Now let me advise you. Those of you who stole money, Oral Chairman is here. And I am so happy.
As Minister for Energy and Green Transition, currently my vision is simple. I want all the 1,346 containers accounted for. 1,346 containers. Whatever it takes, I'll bring those containers to where they ought to be. Mr. Speaker, let me set the record straight. And if my good friend, Professor, will listen to me, there's not been any inconsistency. At the transition committee, Honorable Yarga was there. They gave us a figure of 3,000. Then they told us it had incurred demurrage of 1.5 billion. I was sworn into office on the 17th. On the 24th, I visited the harbor. At the harbor, I was told the containers were 2,500. That is what aroused my suspicion. I didn't say at the harbor that the containers are 2,500. I couldn't have counted 2,500 containers instantaneously. And so from 24th, I went to brief the president on 27th. And by 31st, I had established this committee. There was media coverage. And we took Professor Senyo. He's a chartered procurement expert. The report was submitted just this week. It was during the presentation of the report that the committee told me that contrary to the figures they were giving you, over 1,300 containers cannot be accounted for. These are the facts and nothing but the facts. Mr. Speaker, these are the facts. So those who are on social media and trying to play the political game, let me assure you, it will not deter me. Yesterday, when President Mahama called me, his message was simple. Jinapo, you have my full backing, go the full throttle. ECG, I had the privilege of chairing the board in July. Because I'm a businessman, the first question I ask myself is that how can ECG award a contract? And when the contract is awarded, all the person does is deliver at the port, present bill of lading, and request for payment. I said, with the greatest respect, I don't want to use a word. This is Parliament. I was shattered. I said, how? And ECG would have to pay. So I realized that ECG was paying a lot of bills when they have not even had access to the goods. And when you ask them, I asked the procurement manager, director of procurement, a question. I said, why did he say, oh, Chairman, this is the practice since. This is the practice. And they will bring you document. I listened to honorable member for Sekendi, lawyer, you from Sekendi, question meeting. And I am adopting his submissions as though they were mine. The time has come. This politics, somebody says MPP, NDC, it's a system problem that I will any day support this minister to embark on reforms. How come containers at the ports, containers that have arrived, the bureaucracy at our ports, they say the containers are missing. Mr. Speaker, it is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container, and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, so now they say, oh, maybe it's happening under MPP, it's happening under NDC. No. An honorable minister, I know what you can do. If we can give you support to do it, you must adopt a posture, a non-partisan posture, and tackle the rots.
You can choose to label whatever you want to label. You can choose to follow the committee's report. You can choose to read from what you are reading. You can choose to play the video from Honorable Afenyomakin. But let me tell you something. Containers getting missing at the port, it will be very mischievous for you to link it to the people at the top.
Why? Really?
I said, yes, because it's not part of the person's day-to-day. But even if so, you want to link it to the person at the top. It is only when, unless I sit here and have you been fully notified that when I heard about the containers being auctioned, I didn't do anything about it. I sat aloof and left it. Well, how would that have been?
Well, you wrote a letter that was not responded to.
Is that my fault?
That's not action enough.
So what do I do?
It's not effort that we're measuring.
So what should I do?
We are measuring results.
If you were me, you said it's a discussion. If you were me, what would you do?
No.
Have you also cited the document where ECG reported the matter to the police? Have you cited that?
You reported the auctioning of the containers to the police. You are just saying it.
I'm asking you, have you cited the letter? There's a letter in circulation similar to that. There's one that I have told you, my brother. You are trying to drag me into responding to this report. All attempts, and if you ask me another question that doesn't pertain to how the containers come out, I'll say you run out of your questions. Let's call it a good night.
In fact, the more reason why I'm dwelling on the procurement is because that's the heart of the conversation that we're having.
Go and read the Attorney General's opinion on procurement. If you've read the Attorney General and on your Saturday show, Edwin Tamaklo exhausted that conversation.
Well, we had that conversation, and the proposal was that if there's supposed to be now a review of that position, then so be it.
Then they should go ahead. And does the law apply retrospectively? Does the law apply retrospectively? The mischief you are trying to look for, please, let's halt and let's unify and stop trying to look for names. Let's unify and try and solve the problem.
What is the difference between the ordinary thief and a political thief? Number one, the ordinary thief steals your money, your bag, your watch, and your jewelry, isn't it? But the political thief steals your future, your career, your education, your health, and your business. Number two, the hilarious part is that the ordinary thief will choose whom to rob. But you are the one who choose the political thief to rob you. Because we choose them. We vote them. We blindly say we are not blind. Who is deceiving who? The ridiculous part of the whole issue is that we will fight to defend and protect our belongings from the ordinary thief. Is it not? But we fight each other to defend and protect the political thief. Is that not what we do? Thugs will be fighting themselves to protect those that are stealing our career, stealing our joy, stealing our health, stealing our success. What a shame.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Well, so today is the 17th of April, 2025. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Audu Moro. It's always a pleasure coming your way. It's a beautiful Thursday morning. And as usual, we thank God for being alive and kicking. And we're back again to join the nation's conversation, what's happening in our dear country, Ghana. So we'll kickstart with the front page of the newspapers. And as usual, I have the daily graphic. The daily graphic this morning is reporting. It says Easter celebration, Christian leaders call for sacrifices, love. Use Kwewu Easter to heal old wounds. Dasibre Ekwamwa urge upon the second appeals. Government takes over Goldfields Daman mines. President launches 1 million coders initiative. Attracts 90,000 applications in 48 hours. And there's a special supplement on Easter that according to the daily graphic of today. The Ghanaian Times, take it, own it. President unveils 1 million digital jobs for the youth. And there's also producer price inflation drops to 24.4% in March. GSS. NPP fact-finding committee presents report to leadership. Easter celebration, clergy espouse peace, unity, personal transformation. And government takes over operations of Damang mines. Daily Guide. KMA boss hot over traders flogging comment. NPP 2024 defeat. Okwe committee presents report to NEC. CJ removal injunction case adjourned again. Otunfo starts Boku peace talks. Stop giving free money to Zoom Lion, governance expert. The New Crusading Guide. GRA to chase Coca-Cola smuggling syndicate as Ghana loses 2.3 billion in taxes. Stop Mahama from removing Chief Justice. Minority appeals to religious traditional leaders. VRA committed to sustainable power production. New Kodiabe residents find Jopenya chief over land guard attacks. Pram land row. Kofi Aban Holden shoots down false reports. NDC youth lock up Western Region NSS office over coordinator's appointment. And there's VRA committed to sustainable power production. The Insight. Ghana hires international auditors to scrutinize 4.4 billion government debts. New Kodiabe residents live in fear over land guard terror. Appeal to IGP, Interior Minister for Protection, as a Jopanya chief is accused. Big boost for smallholder farmers as a Greek ministry. ARB Apex Bank roll out $20 million support for solar-powered micro-irrigation kits. Youth must take education and farming seriously. Chief of Solar. Sincerity, friendship, and equality written in an era of global economic turbulence. There's also EU underfunds medicines while allocating billions to arms in Ukraine. Daily Post. 52% of Ghanaians want Chief Justice Tokono to be removed. New Global Info Analytical Survey reveals. As former AG Godfrey Dami cuts down to size at the Supreme Court, there will be no job losses at the Daman mine. Government guarantees operational continuity, Lands and Natural Resources Minister. Daily Democrat. Mahama storms Kwewu for Business Forum. Government takes over Daman Mines operations. KGL is the most accomplished LMC in Africa. And the government signs fund management deal with ARB Apex Bank to support women and youth in agriculture. The New Republic. CJ and ex-boss slapped with travel cash probe. Taxpayers footed bills for family vacates not security. CJ owes $14,000. Auditors demand cash back. Daughters fight upgraded, costing thousands more. The Subri raid exposes Boku conflict secrets as ashes of conflict trade back to Galamsey pits at Abrewa, Ninkram. There's Yohonu under fire in Boku as faction demands Seydou Abagre arrest. Who is the founder of Ghana Education Minister Task Committee to settle debate? The Catholic Standard. Ghana moves to manufacture local HIV products. Utility tariffs to increase on May 3. Ghana Scholarship Authority bill to be laid before Parliament. Nuncio urges faithful to find hope in the risen Christ wounds. and there's priest urge to live lives of integrity. And there's a beautiful editorial that says, be alive with Christ's resurrection. So these are the front page stories of the newspapers. We'll be right back shortly with my guest. I will introduce them. Bro. You are still live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. So my guests are seated, and I'll let you in on who they are. But before I do that, I've just got a couple of, announcements that I want to make, and these are important pieces of announcements. It's got to do with my favorite Blue Jeans energy drink. They are proudly associated with the Good Morning Ghana show, and Blue Jeans energy drink, as you all can attest to, it's good for all of us. I take my Blue Jeans energy drink at least once in a day, and I can recommend that to you. We already know what it does for the body. It contains vitamins and nutrients in it, like vitamin B2, B3, B6, B12, as well as taurine and guarana, which are known to boost your strength and your energy, as well as promote high performance and endurance. Blue Jeans energy drink has been tested, it's been tried, we know it, and we can testify that it's indeed the best. So Blue Jeans energy drink is for both and active men and women, and it's in shops nationwide. If you want to buy it in bulk, please contact Budget Cash and Carry Limited on 020-8128-190, 020-8128-190, or 055-001-000, 055-001-0000. So that's Blue Jeans energy drink. Now, I'm sure you've heard about this product, which is called Polytank Papano and Casa. And I'll tell you why it is so. Charlie, you know what? This is Ghana. You only get deceived if you're not sure of what you are buying or you don't really know the market. Now, when it comes to water storage tanks, the name we all know is Polytank. As simple as that. It's Polytank. We know nothing else. Now, it has been with us for over 30 years, and it has been trusted by all these generations. So make no mistake, always choose Polytank for guaranteed quality. It is what it is, for guaranteed quality. It's available at the same price across the country at Polytank partner shops. So be it Rumble, Hippo, Sumo, or Super Sumo, durability is always assured. Polytank, the original, always the best. Polytank, Papano, and Kasa, and Kasa. So Polytank, Papano, and Kasa, and Kasa. That's what I thought you should get to know. But anyway, so Polytank does not request for Momo payment online, just for you to know. Let's now get on with the business of the day. We've got a lot to discuss or to talk about today. But first, I need to quickly introduce my guest. So Richard Ahiagba is here. He's the Director of Communications for the NPP. Richard Ahiagba is here with us. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Morning.
It's always a pleasure. And also, Hamza Suhini is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team. Hamza, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you always. Yeah. Anyway, so if you are someone who intends to enroll at the nursing training colleges, let me just say that I've got some good news for you. And pretty shortly, we're going to put something up. And if it's ready, can we have a look at this before we proceed with our main conversation for today? So we have this press release from the Health Ministry that we want to share with the public, and then pick the thoughts of my guests before we get on with the main business for the day. So it's about the reduction in the cost of application forms for admission into health training institutions. Now, this matter, actually took a political twist. And maybe when I'm done reading the thing, I'll give you a bit of a background to why this is important. Now, the Ministry of Health wishes to inform the general public and all the prospective applicants seeking admission into any of the health training institutions in Ghana that the sale of application forms for the 2025-2026 academic year would officially commence on Tuesday, 22nd April 2025, and it will end on Thursday, 19th June 2025. Details will be published soon. Now, the general public and all prospective applicants must take note that the cost, for me, this is the elephant in the room. Yes, so that's it. We've just put it up on your screen. Now, the cost of the application forms, which was 200 Ghana cedis, has now been reduced to 150 Ghana cedis. Now, the reduction is intended to enhance access and affordability for applicants across the country. Now, the general public and all prospective applicants are entreated to take note that only GCB Bank PLC and the Agriculture Development Banks are mandated to sell the application forms, and it's signed by the Minister, the Sector Minister, Kwabena Minta Akando, MP Minister for Health. So this is how we intend to start today's show. Now, why is this important? We do know that when it comes to nursing trainee and teacher trainee, it's a matter which has become a subject of political football. In fact, one of the things that the NDC accused the NPP for when the NDC was in opposition was that the NPP had deliberately hiked the prices of the admission forms to 200 Ghana cedis in order to discourage a lot more people from enrolling at the nursing training colleges. And the idea was because the NPP at the time, when the government was struggling to pay teacher and nursing trainees. And so the smaller the number, the easier it would be for the government to pay these teacher trainees. And we've also heard instances where Kofi Asari of Edwatch had actually even said that he was privy to information that in fact, there has been a drastic reduction in the number of persons who are applying for these training colleges because of the fees and the fact that they were a bit high as compared to what existed before. And so we just thought that now that the Health Ministry has taken the lead and has reduced the application forms to 150 Ghana cedis, what does it mean? Is it a political move? Is it an economic move? Or is both? Or what exactly is happening? I'll just pick the thoughts of my guest shortly before we get on with our main issues for the day. But Hamza, I don't know what your quick reaction would be. I mean, it's from 200, it's now been reduced to 150 for persons who want to be trained as nurses. We don't know what's going to come from the education ministry when it comes to people who want to be trained as teachers, but this has gone down from 200 to 150. Good move?
Absolutely. Moro, good morning to our cherished viewers out there, and of course to my colleague in the studio. I think that this is clearly in sync with the government's overall agenda to ensure that we do everything within our power to mitigate the economic hardships on the ordinary Ghanaian. So you would see that somewhere at the beginning of this year, His Excellency President Mahama fully indicated his commitment to reviewing some of our taxes. That was eventually done. And as we speak, the e-levy is no more a tax on the ordinary Ghanaian. Betting tax is no more a tax on the ordinary Ghanaian. And a number of other tax-related measures have been put in place to ensure that we begin to lessen the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian. So clearly, what is happening today, even in terms of the purchase of forms, is clearly in sync with the agenda to serve the good people of this country and to ensure that in doing so, we do not forget that there are many of our compatriots out there who, by virtue of our economic situation, are suffering, and there's the need for the government to have them at the back of its policies and ensure that we do not unnecessarily overburden them. So, Moro, this is something that is commendable. And I'm hoping that the Education Ministry and many other agencies will take a cue from that and see how we can at least help lessen the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian. In any case, what is governance about if you cannot bring about policies to ensure that many of your people, especially at the downtrodden, are taken care of? You may consider this thing to be minimal reductions, but trust me, you go to the communities and they would begin to appreciate the impact of some of these interventions by the state. Because 50 Ghana cedis is no means a small reduction, by whichever way you look at it. But because of the privileged positions some of us may have occupied or still occupy, we are likely to look at it and say, oh, about 50 Ghana cedis, how much is it? But go back to our communities, those who are actually suffering, you begin to appreciate how this will go a long way to making it possible for them to even feed their homes by simply being able to have a breather space of 50 Ghana in terms of resources they would have had to maybe mop out of from other places to be able to access their wards, acquire some of these forms. So it is commendable. And for me, this is what governance should be about. And I want to commend the Minister of Health especially for at least also staying committed to the President's overall vision of ensuring that we serve the good people of this country by lessening the burden and creating opportunities for them, because this is another way of getting people to apply for these nursing institutions. And like we've indicated, in the budget, the Minister of Finance has already indicated that clearly this year they would ensure that trainees are paid monthly like we pay public sector and civil servants. So it is not going to be an issue where, there's not going to be an issue where we would have areas to deal with when it comes to nursing and teacher training allowances. This is the kind of intervention that some of us campaigned for, even ages ago. But I was part of the leadership of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Okay. And those days we used to argue that there's the need for the state to find ways of ensuring that we are paid monthly like they do to public sector and civil servants. Unfortunately, it all fell on deaf ears. Okay. Today, I'm glad to hear that the new government under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama is committed to that initiative. And nursing and teacher training colleges or trainees would now be paid monthly. And government would not have to wait for arrears to accrue before they proceed to struggle to pay those arrears. So these are some of the things. That is the essence of leadership in any case. Right. And that is what every government should focus on. We may look at it to be minimal interventions, but if we are able to build on it, be rest assured that the country would be transformed in a way that all of us can be proud of.
But won't this bring some kind of a fiscal burden on you in view of the fact that you have done two things? You have added these training colleges as part of the no fee payment category of, no category of people. So basically, you're not supposed to be paying fees when they're entering, school. When they are being, exactly, the no fee payment, policy. That's one. Then, now that you have reduced the fees from 200 to 150, won't that then increase enrollment? And if there's an increase in enrollment, what it will also do is that you would have to then also pay more by way of, teacher and nursing training allowances. Wouldn't that bring some kind of a fiscal burden on the government?
Absolutely, unless of course...
In this very difficult economic times.
See, this is a government that is very meticulous in terms of the policies it proposes and it intends to implement.
Okay.
And if you followed the debate in Parliament, and most importantly, the position of the Finance Minister, Dr. Atufos, he indicated that, for instance, if you take the tax refund account alone, we have been able to reduce it from 6% to 4%. What it means that the extra 2% is giving this country in excess of about 3.8 billion. Betting tax and e-levy put together about 2.1 billion. So we still have in excess of about 1.7 billion Ghana cedis to spend. Remember, out of that, an amount was made available to the Ministry of Education for the sanitary pads initiative, I think about 450 million Ghana cedis. A chunk of that was also made available to support the seed capital, to at least form basis, what's the name? To be the initial capital requirement of the Women Development Bank. I'm told about 50 million Ghana cedis or so.
Yes, it's 50 million.
50 million.
50 million Ghana
Absolutely.
cedis,
So, Moro, you see clearly, this is a government that knows where to get their money without unnecessarily burdening the people. So if we are bringing about these interventions, that with the savings made from the tax reserve account, tax refund account alone, these are expenditures we can confidently handle. So I don't think that we should be worried. If it was going to be an issue, the Minister of Finance and His Excellency President Mahama would have indicated toughly that these are not interventions we can introduce now, but we have looked at our strategy, we have looked at the measures we are bringing on board, and we are clearly confident that these are issues the state can handle. In any case, this is the first year. I am pretty much convinced that going forward, we are likely to even get many of these things on our way as a way of lessening the burden on the Ghanaian people. So I am not worried. Okay. I know that the budget has made provisions to be able to cater for some of these developments.
All right, Richard, you have any thoughts to share on this?
No, thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers and all Ghanaians who are very early on dealing with a government that is shaping up to be a massive disappointment. All the promises is made. There's every evidence that is going to default on those promises is made. It's good news, Moro. Whatever we can do to alleviate the hardship on Ghanaians, I think that is welcome. 50 cities, if you hold it in the light of all the difficulties that this government is going to visit on Ghanaians or has started visiting on us, it pales in comparison. So it is nothing to write home about, yet it's such a relief, whatever I can offer to support our young brothers and sisters who are committing themselves to serving in a way that improves our healthcare system, our healthcare delivery system, and ensure that our country is healthy in many ways. So I think that on the score that it would lessen their burden by 50 cities, I think that's okay. We can do more to support them. But I said that it pales in comparison because this government showed up campaign platforms and said that, oh, cost of living is so high in this country. They are coming to turn things around. They are coming to make things better for Ghanaians, and that the NPP government has brought such hardship. It dropped so many millions of people into poverty. They quoted all these statistics and all, and then they've come to power, and they are worsening cost of living in our country. Cost of living, as it were before they came to government, is worse today. It's worse today. That's how come my brother, even though he knows 50 cities is nothing to write home about, is trying to cheerlead it as though it's a groundbreaking relief that is brought to our brothers and sisters. He has a long way to try and polish these rather unpolishable things in government, and I wish him well, and people will communicate for the NDC because their government is not helping them. Moro, recently they just increased the electricity by some 14, or we just call it 15%, right? 14.75%, okay? But before that, they increased our base pay and minimum wage by what, 10%. So you give 10%, you up things by 14.75%. That's electricity. Water, you up it by 4.02%. More. And they say that they remove e-levy. E-levy is 1%, isn't it? E-levy is 1%.
Yeah.
And so 1% take away from almost 19%. What do you got? You understand? So they haven't done much. And in addition to that, Moro, they promised they were going to remove the COVID-19 levy. That COVID-19 levy is comfortably living on our books, and Ghanaians are still paying for it. They told us that COVID is gone. Like COVID is gone. Like we can't see even the rear view mirror. Where is COVID? It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. You know. So why is the MPP still having COVID on our books today? Moro, COVID is still alive and well. Ghanaians are still paying for it. Cost of living, they say they want to deal with worse. Okay, they told us. Finance Minister told us when he came to read the budget that, oh, IMF is coming to town. When they come, we'll discuss the modalities and whatnot to remove the COVID-19 thing. They have come and gone. Now, we've got a $370 million coming in, but then COVID-19 still here. This government told us that, oh, they are coming to improve cost of living, everything else they're coming to do. Moro, the special import levy that was supposed to have expired in 2024, they have comfortably extended its life to cover the full 4 years of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, which means, Moro, cost of living is going to continue to go up. So it's a net loss. The vote for NDC is a net loss. We haven't gained. We haven't gained anything, not even a shred of a thing. So 50 cities. Now, Joe, my brother, is celebrating it because in the midst of all the pain they are bringing too early in the day, one must find reason to say 50 cities is a big deal. Yeah? Otherwise, this is not a debate. This is not a conversation. For students to buy application form, 50 cities less. That's what we're championing. Very interesting. But as I see it, and as I have said to you, it is for me a failure that is waiting to happen. And we knew this right from the beginning. I don't know if you know that whilst they are increasing electricity costs, the lights are not staying on. Just recently, as yesterday or so, the regional minister for Volta region was chastising ECG, you know, for not keeping the lights on. The lights goes off like a joke now. We used to believe when the 8 years of Akufo-Addo, the light stayed on. But now the light goes off like nobody's business, but you're paying more for it. This was what? Deja vu. It's deja vu back in 2014, 2015, 2016. You just like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Your lights goes off and it stays off for a long time. When it comes, then it just goes off. So we are setting ourselves up for disaster. And now, in many instances, I've discussed with people and said that elections have consequences, except that in some cases, the consequences are very punitive. In this case, it's a punitive consequence that we are setting ourselves up for. 50 cities, by all means, let's celebrate it. But there is nothing to celebrate as far as this government is concerned, weighed in the light of what they promised. They overpromised, they created the impression they can do it, but so far, no show. And the accounts will say, Sagrobeswa, if you're not this early morning of the John Mahama administration, we can't see top.
All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. You have a reaction?
Before we do, it is important for us to be very honest with the good people of this country in terms of the kind of information we give them and what to tell them to expect. And for me, it appears that our brothers and sisters in the New Patriotic Party are still struggling to come to terms with the humiliating defeat they suffered. And that has also more or less led to an illusion that possibly they did so well in government and so they shouldn't have lost the election. Today, my brother is talking about cost of living. Since this government took office, has he seen any data suggesting that cost of living has gone high under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama? This is an important show. And so sometimes what we put out there must be backed by data and facts. It is that kind of communication that resulted, or one of the reasons why they lost in that manner. Because they talk to themselves and they listen to themselves and they are excited that they are making an impact, when in actual sense they are not. And I'll tell you why. On this same table, my brother has indicated that clearly we are not fulfilling any of our campaign promises and we will not fulfill them. Tomorrow, the NDC in opposition indicated to the good people of this country that we're going to scrap the e-levy. We have done so. We said we're going to remove emissions levy. We have done so. We said we're going to take away, betting tax. We have done so. We indicated to the good people of this country that we're going to set up the National Apprenticeship Program. His Excellency President Mahama has done so. An allocation of about 300 million Ghana cedis has been made to it. We indicated that we're going to launch the 1 million coders program. Just yesterday, that was launched to ensure that we support or empower the youth of this country with digital skills. We indicated our commitment to ensuring that we get state-owned enterprises to suddenly begin making profits. Not long ago, about 3 weeks ago, TOR signaled that they had made an impressive turnaround in terms of their profit margins, in excess of over 100%. That is leadership. These are commitments. These are fulfillment of campaign promises. Unless, of course, that has a different dictionary, definition in the dictionary. So let us be very careful with the kind of things we see. Again, you are talking about COVID, COVID tax and stuff like that. Unless, of course, you are not following the discourse. We have stated clearly that it has been fused as part of the value-added tax. And our finance minister, the Honorable Dr. Tuforson, has consistently said that if you look at our VAT ratio, about 22%, roughly, it is about the highest in Africa. And there's the need for us to have a holistic assessment of it to bring it to a level that we can defend. And we are still in the process of that. He gave an indication that somewhere July or August this year, the technical team working on it would have been out with their recommendations for us to ensure that we deal with all these issues holistically. We don't have to go pull out COVID levy, then finally go back trying to deal with,
the VAT.
The VAT. It is a component of it. And so these are some of the measures, and that is why I'm telling you that this government is a meticulous one. You are talking about the NDC not fulfilling its promises. Come on. Every Ghanaian knows. And these are things that we have done in a matter of less than 120 days. Never heard of. Under you were milking the public purse of this country with over 100 ministers. His Excellency President Mahama, in opposition, made a promise that he was going to reduce the number of ministers. Today, we have about 60 ministers. In fact, 4 are yet to be appointed. So in all, we have about 56 ministers appointed so far. Marginal reduction. You cannot even refer to this as marginal reduction. This is an impressive reduction as far as the number of ministers are concerned. And it's going to have a rippling effect in terms of how we manage our public finance. You sit here and talk about utility prices. What didn't we go through under Nanado and the MPP government? Tomorrow,
what we are having to deal with today is still the ineffective and poor leadership of the NPP when it comes to utility pricing. You structured the ECF with the IMF. It was not the NDC government that did it. And I heard one of his colleagues on this same platform, I think within the week, indicate that we should point them to a statement in the arrangement with the IMF, the ECF arrangement with the IMF, where it stated that they will increase, what do you call it?
Utility tariffs?
Utility tariffs. Tomorrow, just for the purposes of, if you take the agreement, you go to page 67.
Okay.
And this is what they say. I'm going to read. Over the course of the medium term, we will fulfill this objective by fully implementing the energy sector reform program to reduce power sector financial shortfall, improve ECG operational performance, and fully implement tariff reforms to ensure quarterly adjustments. Fully implement tariff reforms to ensure quarterly adjustments for cost recovery. Specific interventions which will be jointly overseen by Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Energy include, listen, implementing an upfront weighted average electricity tariff adjustment of at least 29% in January 2023 prior to action to limit the size of the energy sector shortfall. This will be followed by quarterly tariff adjustments reflecting exchange rates, inflation, and fuel price changes.
And which document is this?
That is the IMF, what's the name? Agreement, memorandum of understanding signed with government of Ghana.
Right.
I think somewhere May 2023.
Okay.
You can Google it and you can see it on the page. Go to page 67. You would find this there.
Yes, I remember. I think it was Ishaq Ibrahim.
Yes.
And Mohammed Abdulaziz.
Yes.
And
yes.
Ishaq kept asking Mohammed Abdulaziz
to
pinpoint where in the MOU.
At their ignorance with even a very document that they birthed. So that is the kind of party we are dealing with. You have created this situation for us to deal with. When you lost the election, you were meant to announce the what we call the first quarter increments. You didn't. Per the release from the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, we got to know that as a result of your inefficiency, you have left us with an additional 987 million Ghana cedis in under recoveries because of your failure to even fully commit to these underlying terms of the agreement. And so these are monies that government will need to cover. You failed to make announcements for the first quarter of 2025. So if you are having an upward adjustment in terms of increment, tariff prices, it is largely because of your failure to announce for first. And we are now having a situation where we have to deal with the first quarter and second quarter put together. And also an arrears budget of about 987. And because of the economic cost of that on the ordinary Ghanaian, we decided that even taking the arrears bid, instead of just coming out with a figure that will reflect the 100% recovery, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission decided that, look, let us do it gradual. And so this year, we are going to deal with only 50%. In terms of our effort to recover what has been lost over the first, second, and third quarter.
Help me with this. Now, regarding the hike in utility tariffs, and here more specifically with electricity, because that appears to be the bone of contention. I've heard John Jinapor in several other interviews say that the IMF and the World Bank had actually specifically instructed us to increase utility tariffs by some 68%.
58%.
58%, okay. Are you able to tell me whether it's actually contained in this same MOU?
Per the understanding, you see, what was happening is that it's not in this one. So, but what is happening is
general talk about
because
adjusting.
they looked at the arrears and the failure of the MPP to stay committed to the terms, especially after August 2024.
Right.
So clearly, there was a need for us to make up for that shortfall. And they were making a recommendation to government that to be able to effectively deal with it, then we should be looking at an increment of about 58%.
Okay, so that's what John meant.
Absolutely. And government was like, no, the ordinary Ghanaian would not be in a position to bear this brand, especially considering the mess that we have inherited and the burden that the NPP had to impose on the Ghanaian people. And today, my brother talks about cost of living. Has he forgotten that as a result of their poor policies, driven by tendencies to corrupt the system, they subjected the good people of this country to a domestic debt exchange program, where Ghanaians who worked for years lost their livelihoods at the back of that. We've never had that since the Fourth Republic started. Have we ever had a situation where we woke up as a country and we're unable to pay even our local debts? Absolutely not. That is the legacy they left behind. And so they subjected Ghanaians since the establishment of our Fourth Republic to unprecedented hardship, where many of them lost in excess of 50% as far as their savings were concerned and their investments. And you are proud of this record? And you have the effrontery to sit on this platform and question the sincere and proactive steps of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC government since assuming office, barely 120 days ago. Absolutely. You see, we must take the good people of this country for.
Okay.
We must not take them for granted. And you see, Moro, finally, my advice to the NPP is that they must accept that the people of this country punish them for the decisions they took in government. And to be able to let the Ghanaian people understand that probably they seem to have some remorse. The only thing they should be seen doing at this critical moment, whilst trying to work to rebuild their party, is to be seen as constructive agents of our democratic process, rather than being destructive in their tendency. That is not what is going to earn them trust. And throwing words about is not what will suddenly make the Ghanaian people begin to have confidence in the new patriotic party. Okay. Indeed, it has sunk so low. In Britain, we say that they have scraped the barrel. What's the term? We say that they have scraped the barrel below acceptable limits. Okay. And so my brother should come to terms with reality. All right. And know that, unlike them, we have a president who is committed. We have a president who is experienced because he knows the ins and outs of this country because he's been there before. Okay. And we are dealing with a president who is humble, respectful, and appreciates that the essence of leadership is not to be arrogant, but to stay committed to the promises you made to the Ghanaian people. And that on a daily basis, when you wake up from bed, you must be in a position to appreciate significant steps in terms of your agenda to improve the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian. And that is what we are doing. That is what the National Democratic Congress is about. At any point in time that we are faced with challenges, we'll be more than bold to let the Ghanaian people know that these are the challenges we are faced with as a nation. But finally, an interesting one. I'm sure you have read also in the news that in the coming days, we are going to have marginal reductions in terms of petrol, LPG as well.
I heard the announcement yesterday.
Clearly.
I heard the announcement
So
yesterday.
if you are not seeing these significant initiatives intended to lessen the burden on the ordinary Ghanaian, then I can understand why you are still struggling to even rebuild your party.
Let me bring in Richard now. Richard.
Moro.
Yes, sir.
It is this kinds of talk that's making Ghanaians very early on feel even worse in what they are suffering in terms of buyer's remorse, right? They have gone to trade an option that has potential for an option that is taking us back. My brother needs to pay attention to the details. What I want to ask him is that, no long talk, just simple question. Is COVID levy still on the books or not? No long talk. Yes or no?
Yeah, he admits that it's there.
Yeah. But then, no, I don't need why. Okay. Because in the social contract, very specific, 90 days, within my first 90 days in office, scrap the following draconian taxes to alleviate hardship and ease the high cost of doing business. E-levy, COVID levy, 10% COVID levy, 10% levy on betting and emission tax. E-levy, COVID levy, betting tax, emission tax, not a contentious matter. If Baobia were president today, these things would have been gone. The question I'm asking quite simply is that COVID levy, you promise you do it in 90 days. 90 days has come, it's still on the books. So if you're going to remove it tomorrow, it's immaterial. You haven't done it as you have promised. So when I say you are not delivering on your promise, there's evidence for it. You see, this way my brother is talking, he should just chill. Compensate MPP were humiliating defeat. Before 2024, there was 2016. Okay, you should talk in context. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was voted out massively, was voted out. Incumbent government voted out. Nothing like what we suffered in 2024. The president, he was the president. A referendum on his performance, abysmal. Baumia wasn't the president, he was the vice president. You can make a hue and cry about vice president, EMT, and all of that, I make that. But it's nothing like the president himself, who the citizens say no. So today, him being president, we know him. This is about humble, meticulous government. We saw this government in 2013, 2016. We saw it. Or 2017, we saw it. So he's not going to tell us anything new about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama that we don't know. We know. The things are setting up to be the same as it was before. We're going the same direction. Promises made, promises not kept. What they did in 2024, or the years before 2024, was to tell Ghanaians whatever they think Ghanaians want to hear so they can win power. Then when they win power, they'll figure it out. They're trying to figure it out, and it's not adding up. It's not. It's not.
He just walked. We give the tall list of promises that have been kept. Yes, the COVID matter is true.
Yeah. So
when you make a general statement and say promises not kept.
So I should tell you more that has not been kept.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. So he told us he was going to ban mining in our forests.
Okay.
Clear in part of the social contract.
In 90 days.
Social contract. Yeah.
90 days. Or
120 days or whatever.
Yeah, but we're not it's not 120.
But it's not going to ban, it's amending the thing. It's amending LI 2462. Yes, that's what it takes to fulfill that promise. Okay, so if he's amending it,
instead of scrapping
it, yes, then he's not delivered on that.
Right.
You get it? And so I am just saying that he can pick and choose where he wants to go around. That's the difficulty. You should know that we just came from government and he has a lot to talk about. But the business of saying that, oh, we have lost and this and that, that's not what is going to help him. People voted us out because they felt that they could do better. Now they are here. They should do better. Should stop comparing MPP and that's why we have lost and that's why we can't rebuild our party. What's that? Ghanaians are not interested in that. They want to see what you say you are going to do, which you are not doing.
Oh, politicians. Oh,
no, but simply, who drew the social contract?
No.
It's them. Who's them? Who did it?
No, I'm just saying that just before December,
but another one,
just before December 7th.
Yeah.
It was the other way around.
No, but you see, so it's a responsibility matter, right? And when we're in government, we're doing our best. We're trying to let people know what we're doing.
Yes.
They were just telling people everything, things that were not attainable. Yeah,
and
they told us.
And you also kept referring them to the Mahama era.
No, we didn't. We didn't refer that. We're busy. We're busy trying to govern this country. And on the matter of saying that they have kept promises, they were busy.
Yes.
In the shadows, egging people on, inciting people. Call for a state of emergency for Galamsey. Call it, and all that. They've come here. Totally, the president is absent. Very, very quiet on that matter. Today, Galamsey is gotten worse under them. Okay.
By what metrics?
Huh?
What metrics are you using?
By common sense. Yes. By looking at it.
Imagine.
No, but if all of us here can say, would you say that Galamsey has not gotten worse? Is that what you're going to say?
I need some data to be able to determine.
What data? What data did you have
because
before?
The truth, no, but
what data and the MPP did you get?
It was because at the time.
No,
hold on. There was a coalition against.
Moro.
No, hold on. There's a media coalition against illegal mining, which is led by Ken Ashigbe.
Yeah.
And Ken Ashigbe will periodically tell the public where we are in our fight against Galamsey.
Okay.
I haven't heard him, and you have stand to be corrected.
Then you have not been listening.
I haven't heard him say that it's gotten worse.
Oh, it's absolutely.
I know he's had some misgivings about the LI 2462 which you mentioned, and a few other people.
The thing has gone bizarre. But haven't you heard?
Ken said that?
I'm saying the thing has got basa. If you haven't heard him, just listen to him.
Okay.
Let Andy. Andy is very adept at bringing you videos.
Okay.
Tell him to find video to show what Ken is saying today about.
And another one, Erastus Saridonko,
absolutely,
is one of our sources.
Absolutely, Erastus.
Has he said it's gotten worse?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's worse. Okay. You understand? Now, where NDC chairmen are emboldened, okay? They are competing head-on with police and military people who are supposed to check their activities. He said nobody informed him, so they can't go to any site to arrest people. You understand? So the thing is bad. And he made a promise, he's not kept it. You understand? Should I go on? The 24-hour economy matter.
Yeah.
Yeah? He said we're going to do it. He said within the first 90 days or something, or 120 days, we'll commence drafting a legal, whatever. We haven't seen anything.
Okay.
We haven't seen anything. And in fact, in this 2024, it's not going to be there. 2025, there's not going to be anything about the structured implementation of 24-hour economy. It's not going to be there. And my brother made a mistake of talking about the Women Development Bank, something that is a pain point for women. Women championed their campaign. Women came after them. Yeah, JM, because they thought they were going to get Women's Development Bank. Where is the Women's Development Bank? Where is it? You can't find it. With a microscope, you can't find it. 51.3 million is what they are talking about. Who establishes a bank with that amount? That's a grand deceit. It's a deceit of the century. Deceit of the century. Remember,
so were you realistically expecting the government to set up the bank in 3 months' time? In three months after they had assumed office, was that the expectation? That in 90 days a bank would have been set up.
What does it take to set up a bank? It's money.
Yes.
If you have the money, you set up a bank.
Yes.
And then even now, we're not talking about 3 months. We're talking about whole fiscal year. Because the provisions you have made today
is for the whole fiscal
year. It's a whole year.
Yes.
So it's not 3 months. If the provision is there, if they have made an allocation for it, okay, at least minimum, to meet the minimum capital requirement and what to run the bank, say something about whatever standard bank they're going to create, something in at least the 400 million that was required to set up and so and so and so. If at least a 450 million or something, you know that they can start a bank. This one can start even a village susu company. But
the party has a 4-year social contract with Ghanaians.
But he has given us here Women's Development Bank, part of the 120-day development thing. Women's Development Bank. Why is it here?
Isn't there?
Allocate.
Isn't there sort of the 120 days?
Let him read what is written there.
Yes, it says allocate seed money for the establishment of the Women's Development Bank.
Has that not been done?
Master, what is seed money? If you are establishing a bank, what is seed money to establish a bank?
But you can,
it's 51.3 million.
You can interrogate the amount, but you say nothing has been done.
But I mentioned the amount.
Yes.
But that amount, can that amount establish a bank? You
as
tell
seed
me.
Money. As seed money.
What seed money is supposed to start the bank, right? This money cannot start a bank. It cannot. It will not.
Okay.
Which means that promise is not delivered.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
You get the point?
Okay.
So it is not about showing up. It's about doing.
Okay.
So they have talked large. Now they can deliver.
Okay.
You get the point?
Right.
So I'm trying to see where my brother is not getting it to say that they have delivered on their promise. No.
Okay.
This tokenist thing that we have gone to commission, if you look at here, they have commissioned a consultative something on education, the no academic fee policy, they have done that. So it means they have done everything.
Okay.
What they have promised us, this my brother was talking about, cost of living, who told you has gone down as whatever. Master, when you have extended the special import levy, you know what that means? It means cost to the Ghanaian. It means that the importer is going to pay more. And when it pays more, we, the consumers, are the ones to bear the brunt.
Right.
So you have not done anything.
Right.
What you have inherited, you have worsened by increasing the utility. Now, this business of saying that, IMF say you were going to increase quarterly and all of that, you are in government. Fix it if you thought that situation was acceptable. When we're doing it, when they criticize the electricity, they criticize that we're increasing the cost of living.
But if you already have an agreement with the IMF, you can't change it midway.
But who is in charge?
Yeah, so you can't change it.
You can change it.
How?
They were seeking to change part of the agreement. When they had the ECF with the IMF, we negotiated. We negotiated it.
We
have been looking for a document, right? I'll find it. You know, in 2016 or so, the finance minister then said Tekwe was looking to borrow some amount of money. Okay, they applied based on part of the conditions of the ECF they had. They refused them to borrow that money. You know, that there was that conditionality. But we came, we managed, based on some arrangement, we were able to get some borrowing.
So expecting the government to renegotiate
it. 1.25 billion that we borrowed to kick the economy start.
Okay.
So it's about negotiation.
Right.
It's about showing that on one hand, you can consolidate on this end, so whatever you give here, you'll find room on the other side to consolidate. So it's about economic management creativity.
Okay.
So if you have the competence, you'll be able to do it. So you can't just tell me that, they negotiated something, so what I promised you I was going to reduce cost of living for you, and now I can't do it.
But at least you admit that this was a legacy they had inherited.
But the point is that when they were promising, didn't they know that legacy was on the book? They knew that. Are you saying they didn't know? They
promising to
reduce cost of living. You understand? Electricity bill is so high. I can hear the echoes of their words in my head right now, saying that, things were so bad, Ghana, we are dying. They were saying that. I can hear the echoes in my head. Now, were they not aware?
So, Richard, are you saying that
they not aware of these difficulties?
Are you saying the person
so
today...
please, Moro, don't excuse
No,
I'm
just asking a question. My job is to ask questions.
Question appears as if you are excusing
No, do same. If you were saying something that I felt I need to ask a follow-up question. I'm saying that, are you saying the person today who's not paying e-levy, the person today who's not paying betting tax, and the person who today is not being confronted with all the other emission and all of those things? Never mind that those ones were not in operation.
The emission was not in operation. Yeah.
Are you saying that person today is not slightly better off as compared to if today they were paying all these things? Because I'm asking because you just said, look, this is a government that promised they were going to make the lives of Ghanaians better. They were going to reduce the cost of living.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that, are you going to say that the interventions that they have made by scrapping some of these levies, is not appreciated by some Ghanaians?
Moro, if you listen to me, I told you that e-levy, betting tax, COVID levy, emission which was not implemented, they're not contentious matters.
Yes.
If Bawumia was president today, Ghanaians would be enjoying that.
Right.
So that is not a point to quibble about. It's a zero gain on a scale of improving things. Because today, if Bawumia was president, Ghanaians would have enjoyed that. So there's no arguing that. So on that one, nobody gains, nobody loses. Or you get me? So, but what I am saying is that what they have promised to do, which is to improve cost of living, they have worsened it. The special import levy is a daily thing. It's something we are all trapped in. If you take transport to come here, you bought fuel in his car to come here, you are suffering that. So they have not improved anybody's life.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
At all.
I guess we have to
what I'm saying is that they should take it easy.
Okay.
And when they were in opposition, they would say, take responsibility. This government must take responsibility. Please take responsibility that you say you're going to improve people's livelihoods or improve cost of living so that people can live better. Under you, there will be nirvana in Ghana.
Okay.
But we don't have it.
All right.
So take responsibility and promise that you'll do better.
No problem. We have
don't
to
be referring to MPP, which is not in government.
We have other issues to talk about. So, no, I beg you, because once you come in, Richard will be forced to come in, and we're going to drag it. I beg you, Hamza. Let's do this. So we'll take a short break. But before then, let me just say that finally, the MPP now knows officially what went wrong with the party in government in 2024, the 2024 elections. And we will come back after the break, which is about just 30 seconds. Please don't go anywhere. And we'll look at specifically what the party intends to do with the Michael Quay committee reports. Please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. breather that the MPP now know exactly, officially and scientifically, what exactly went wrong in the 2024 elections that recorded such a poor performance on the part of the party, of the government. And yesterday a report was presented to the National Executive Committee of the party, I believe so, and a few things happened yesterday. Of course, in fact, closely related to that was some other issues that came up with the Chief Justice. We do know that there have been some petitions for her removal from that office, and the minority leader, Alexander Fanyomakin, took advantage of yesterday's, or took the opportunity yesterday during the presentation of the report to the party to make some comment on the Chief Justice matter. So we'll try and put the two together. But fortunately, because the Director of Communication of the party is here, he'll be in a better position to let us in on the importance of yesterday's meeting. Remember that the media had generally reported it at a crunch meeting. What was crunch about yesterday's meeting? The Ghanaian Times reports it as well. It's on page 9 of that paper. And it says that MPP Facts Finding Committee presents report to leadership. And the story is by Benari Bengan. It says the committee tasked the probe into the new patriotic parties lost in the 2024 general elections has presented its findings to the party's leadership at a closed-door meeting held yesterday in Accra. The 12-member committee, chaired by former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, handed the report to the party's General Secretary, Mr. Justin Kodua Frimpong, at a meeting the Ghanaian Times has gathered. Now, after receiving the report, the General Secretary is reported to have taken the National Council and the Council of Elders through the committee's recommendations, which have not yet been made public. The meeting brought together party officials, including members of the National Council and the Council of Elders. The committee was established immediately after the recent electoral defeat, and it was charged to investigate the factors that contributed to the NPP's loss to the National Democratic Congress. The committee was given a 3-month timeline to complete its work, with focus on evaluating the party's internal elections, campaign strategies, and the challenges that led to the electoral defeat, while proposing actionable solutions for future elections. According to MPP General Secretary, the committee's objective was to conduct a thorough review and provide recommendations to strengthen the party's operations. Now, the 2024 election saw former President John Dramani Mahama achieve victory, securing 6.328397 votes, representing 56.55%, defeating the NPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who received 4,657,304 votes, representing 41.61%. Mahama's victory not only marked a personal political comeback, but also represented a significant triumph for the NDC, which gained a majority in Parliament with more than 180 seats, including those formerly held by the NPP, which includes the Amblema West constituency that I believe that's Esla Usu's constituency. So Richard is here, thankfully. And Richard, how important was yesterday's gathering, and what's the way forward?
Oh, thank you. I think yesterday was pivotal because right after the elections, the party needed to collect itself, which required that we understand exactly what went wrong, what we did right, what we did do right, things that we needed to take a second look at, things that we needed to outright admonish ourselves about, that never again, and things of that nature. And in seeking to find answers to those questions and concerns, the National Council of the party met and set up this committee chaired by the Right Honorable Michael Quay to inquire into what must have gone wrong. Listening to the report yesterday, the highlights that was put out, there was a mixture of things that we may have done right, things that we need to take a second look at, things that we need to discipline ourselves about, to bring to the fore, or to jettison and manner and things along those lines. So it was important that work was done. And before going further, let me commend the committee all its members, the chair, Professor Okwe, for the very diligent work. You'll be amazed what the volume of work they put out in 3 months is simply exceptional. I mean, it's very, very exceptional. I want to commend them as a great service they've done to the party.
Can I safely assume that they went to all the nooks and crannies of this country?
Absolutely. They went to every constituency.
Okay.
Every constituency. Talked to a significant amount of people, people, party executives, people, party associates, people in the campaign, people at the headquarters. I recall I was supposed to have met them on 2 different occasions. So it was a very extensive work, and the result they brought yesterday was just simply, rich. And I think that we need to commend them. And this now, the significance of yesterday, sets us up on the path of, regrouping and putting the pieces together to ensure that we get ourselves properly oiled for the battle that lay ahead in 2028. And it's exciting, especially because, the NDC started goofing up early. And so it just calls for us to put ourselves together. And once we get that done, we'll give them a good run for their money. I still think that, they have our seats and we'll take them back, both the Jubilee House one and the parliamentary seats that they are sitting on. Most of will take them back. Because, and I think that Hamza will feel this way. I believe inherently, without apology, that the new patriotic party's worldview presents a better prospect for Ghana. If you put it side by side.
Sorry, I'm told that we have a sound issue, we have a sound challenge, so we'll take just a short break. We'll sort that out quickly in less than a minute, and then we'll come back. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana.
Is it with my mic?
Yeah, I think so. Somebody.
And I said the National Council ACI. Na butaya into National Council ACI and I said and che and yeti abidioku bia from review committee. Reverend Professor Iroma Kukweda no say omonhwe party no yanamon to adwuma ye or 2024 elections no me koyi and no man koyi and committee need or more report every National Council. I'm a National Council, so a report to him. National Council saw a report to him. You who say your constitution was a political party, no, it's a crack a crabby mabem. Then tea and nam sasunti a tea abidokua almost so a nipa and kono. Say ombeshe constitution proposed as a war era makuke reporting him. Na omo to party nefo. Na baby a constitution as a sacraebemuno. Sacraet mabem. Na me fa akunya we so asɛ your party for say yeah call radio so yeah what social media platform so say report no yenyan biem ne yenkan enti obi abakotena radio so na abonte abeka say report ni say eti no enya ne kure if say report no yenyan kan say the make na one document pe ene wo ho eni ba bia emra di yanim no the essay party penifo e kan de to edwa e ma amanfo hu no ye beka wasem and a recommendation na essay de ba mankofo so hu no nyina se betu anamo ti ye bo party fo bia kokko se ye hwe kasam ye me en kasam a identitimu e beba party nim etoso biem ye nyina nti asese ye abusua baako ti bibia ye se ye e mankabo ma party nim eno ene ye se ye ni ekoho ebiem party no so na otwe edi enu ye bobo apro akọ Ghana fa na nyina edi kan ye da nyame ase se elections e course so ma asundwe ba o memu na ono a ne tumi ne hihye mu ye siye no o ma akwan ma ye siye nti atudi ne se ade ne nyina no ye de aseda e manyame eho to ene ye kọ ti mu se ye party ne nam Ghana fa na nyina na ye thank you to na se aseda de manyame to no na ye kọ tosu biem so ye party no so ye hwe kwan a ye be pija party na ho odin ye nti ye membership drive so e ya de a ye ba betu hanamo nti ebre sem no party ni hihye beba regional party ne be di animu ni ahwe se constituencies ene ye polling station kwan a ye membership registration no ebetimi akoso nti ene nhyiamu a ekoso so e wo national council no na eno no nti ebeda mu nyina amase na yama minority leaders so the atwas.
As Secretary said, we are also urging upon government to do all it can to ensure the peace in Boko. The situation is getting out of hand, and they inherited a peaceful country. They must keep it peaceful. What is happening in Boko, where security personnel don't feel safe, is not the best for our country. Second, we are also concerned about the persecution and the harassment of political opponents, particularly our party members and former appointees. MPs are now being harassed by expressing their views on governance issues. We urge government to demonstrate tolerance. After all, when they were in opposition, they were at liberty to raise a number of issues. The recent event at the residence of Reverend Ntim Fojo leaves so much to be desired. Very unfortunate. In any event, they could have used due process of law to, invite him. And then the final point, government must focus on issues of governance, creating jobs, and helping better the lives of the people. We are still aware that a lot more are being dismissed from various state institutions that are even very independent and are limited liability companies, and whose budget do not rely on government budgets. They are very independent, who have recruited people for 18 months, 12 months, and they are just being sacked here and there. Government must take note of it. We are also concerned about an attempt by certain individuals in government to push for the removal of the Chief Justice. The judiciary should not be seen as part of the partisan political system in our country. All we need is to have an impartial judiciary to dispense justice.
Friends from the media, we are delighted to have you here this evening. I know many of you want.
Yeah, so it was an event that happened yesterday right here at the Alisa Hotel. So I'm here. Richard Ahyangba is here, Director of Communications of the MPP, and also Hamza Suhini, who is a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communications team. So Richard, you were talking to me about the importance of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is pivotal. Much of activities in our party was depending on the conclusion of this. So you saw the General Secretary talking about some activities that will start rolling out, which is the thank you tour, which was scheduled much earlier, but then, it was one of the things that we said, well, let's wait for the report. So now the report is here. We're going to be going or working to that report. And so a lot of activities in our party now would commence, having gotten this report done, and then most of our organizations will drive toward some of the recommendations that's been made in this report. So it was that important for us that we have that report. And again, as I was saying, I can't stop commending the Prof. Okwe's committee. They've done a yeoman's job. Now, out of that yesterday was a committee that was formed to kind of coordinate matters arising from that report that require constitutional amendment. And so the committee put together is chaired by the chairman, Frank Davis, who is chairman of the Constitutional Legal Committee of the party, and supported by 8 other persons to try and do that, so that they would put together matters there that require amendment, and so proposals will be put to that, and then Congress would look at amending or not amend the Constitution to reflect the recommendations. And then also there are other outstanding proposals that were supposed to have gone into amendment in 2021, but for some reason it didn't, so it was referred to National Council to do that on behalf of Congress. Though outside of Congress, National Council is the highest authority of the party, so it was referred to Council to winnow or kind of sort through those proposals for amendment. So the committee is now seized with it to consolidate all of that, including new proposals that people would want to make outside of the committee's ideas or recommendations that would lead us to a conference or Congress to try and amend the Constitution. So that's a very important work that's also ongoing. So the report yesterday has brought some, beginning point in terms of our rebuilding process to recapture power in 2028. So we thank everybody. It was a very good and spirited debate about, the matters, some of the highlights that were there, and other related matters on our agenda. So it was, for me, today is our rebirth. Since after the election, now we have a roadmap sort of to put our hearts together and sharpen our arrows and bows for the fight in 2028.
So the details of the report was not shared?
The details of the report, the aspects of it that is consumable by the general population of the party and Ghanaians at large will be put out as and when it's necessary, but the document itself is a confidential document.
Okay.
That is only for purposes of reorganization and not for pleasure of reading and learning about things.
Okay, so who would be entitled to read the content of that document?
Would only be people who are working and leading the efforts, so maybe executives of the party, and appropriate
so say General Secretary, National Chairman, Women's Organizer?
Yeah, I mean, it's generally, if it bothers on my work and things that I have to do to sharpen and improve communication, yes, that'll be a detail that I have. If it bothers on the work of the national organizer, the women organizer, things that he must do, part of the recommendation to, shape up his organ, then that's probably what he would know to be able to drive the agenda forward for the party.
I see. Do you suppose that perhaps this document, this piece of document, and as you put it, my Professor Michael Quaid document, which has diligently been put together, would suffer some kind of a credibility deficit, and for that matter, make it difficult for the party to unite going forward because of some of the comments we heard from no less a person, Adwasapo, I believe 3 times or 4 times Member of Parliament for Domi Kwabena.
Yeah, I think it
must be 4 times.
3 times.
3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
I mean, she's not a small person. She's been a minister, and she's been a deputy majority leader, etc., etc. And she's raised some serious concerns about the integrity and the credibility of the document. And her challenge is with the persons who have been commissioned to do it, and specifically Professor Michael Quaid. Now, such a person, unless of course the MPP doesn't want her to be a part of the party anymore, but if you want people like her to be a part of the party, then she's got to be convinced why she must take this document much more seriously, even if there's a portion of it which has to do with her role that she played she's got to be able to accept it, because at the end of the day, if the document comes out and people don't want to accept the content of the document, then you may not be able to make progress. You don't think so?
No, not really. I mean, we are so many million people in the New Patriotic Party.
She may be the only person who's talking, but there may be many others who have the same concerns.
Yeah, I'm not even making the point of... yes, I'm not saying that we're so many million people in the party, and that if you want to have a committee that works, you can't have all million of us being on the committee. So at any given time, whoever you put on the committee, I'll have reason to complain about the person. You'll have reason to complain. So to the extent that, you know, we can't have any perfect human being drop from anywhere, people will have concerns. But it doesn't take away from the work of the committee. You know, the key thing is that the committee didn't set out to imagine what went wrong. Okay? The report as we have it is not the imagination of the committee. It's a collective of the inputs that have been brought to the committee. So they just tabulated what has been brought, collated, clean it up, and organize it for our consumption and then implementation. So the question doesn't arise as to whether it is credible or not, because they have not gone to imagine this. It's not a function of their education, right? It's a function of collective insight that is brought to them. They put it together. I think that what concern Adjosafo was making a while ago, if I remember, was to do with her availing herself to the committee. And so I don't know if she presented herself to make her views known to the committee, but that doesn't take anything away from the committee. I
doubt she would.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Because she has serious issues with
if she hasn't, I will encourage her that, you know, she's a very senior person of the party. She's done a service to the party, and she has a role to play in the party. And I don't think the party will just jettison her or just ignore her. The thing about it is that, Moro, as big as we might be in the party or as small as we might be, there are rules, and we must work to those rules. That's really just what brings sanity. Otherwise, there will be chaos. So I'll entreat her, and I'm sure that, you know, things have worked out to this point. I'll seriously beseech her to reconsider. Her potential is immense, and there's room in the party for her to grow and to attain you know, the heights that she's destined to attain. And I think that she should work as she's worked for the party in the past, so we can move on, because 2028 is a crucial election for Ghana. And not only for NPP, but for Ghana, because Ghana needs to be saved from the experimentation of the NDC led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, which is not going well so far. We can see it. We know it. Ghanaians are beginning to feel it. They are calling and asking why their lights are going off, why things are getting expensive instead of less expensive. So we know where we are is not good, and we need a New Patriotic Party to focus and come back in 2020.
So that's my penultimate question there, because the report, let me ask you a few questions. But the thing is, does the report talk about what happened, or it also goes ahead to talk about who is responsible for this? Was there some kind of a blame apportioning in the report? And I'm asking this because I suspect that finally, if somebody gets hold of this report and gets to know who may have done what, either by an act of commission or omission, we sit here, and even if the NDC grabs it, they will begin to talk about, you did this, I know you did this wrong, you did that wrong. How does that help the healing process?
Well, what will help the healing process is that Hamza will not get his hand on that document. you will not get your hand on that document.
Oh my God.
And then those who must get their hands on it to promote the healing process and make that healing happen will get their hands on it.
Does the report talk about going on a thank you tour? And because you've talked about going on a thank you tour.
No. So it's not a recommendation of the report. These are activities that were scheduled before, except they were put on hold for the report to come before they move. So with the benefit of the report here, the door is open for those activities to be undertaken.
Okay. So you don't want to tell us who should be held responsible for what? But Global Info Analytics has done that job for you. Yes.
You are tempting me.
No, he's a very good friend.
We talked
the only reason why I brought it up is because I know you're very close to him. So Musa Dankwa has done some work.
Yeah.
And he says a post-election poll conducted by Global Info Analytics has revealed that 68% of respondents hold former President Nana Akufo-Addo responsible for the New Patriotic Party's defeat in the 2024 general elections. 2, the poll reflects public sentiment on the party's loss, with significant portions of voters also attributing blame to key government figures. The findings show that 40% of respondents blame former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, while 37% attribute the defeat to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who served as Vice President and was the NPP's presidential candidate in 2024. And the poll is right there. Additionally, 33% blame Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh, while 32% hold other government appointees responsible. Members of Parliament were also not exempt, with 25% of voters assigning them some level of responsibility. The data suggests that many voters view the performance of the Akufo-Addo-led government as a decisive factor in the NPP's electoral failure. Issues such as economic challenges, governance concerns, public dissatisfaction may have contributed to the perception that the former president's leadership played a significant role in the party's defeat. Interestingly, only 9% of respondents blamed Kennedy Pong, who contested in the NPP's primaries but did not lead the party in the elections. This indicates that while intra-party competition may have influenced voter decision, the majority of the blame was placed on those directly associated with government administration. Now, are these persons who have been mentioned, first of all, your thoughts on this before I go to Hamza, and are these persons who have been mentioned be given copies of the report for them to peruse and have a look and say, look, this is what the generality of our party followers are saying you may have done wrong. So next time around when you get an opportunity, be careful. So Nana Addo, so Ken Ofori-Atta, so Dr. Matthew Poku, so Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, etc., etc. Is it part of your plans? Whilst you give me your brief thoughts about Musa Dankwa's poll.
Our report does not report anything in this manner.
Okay.
And so maybe Global Info Analytics need to share this with the people.
Okay.
But our report doesn't speak in those terms.
Yeah.
But the sum total
okay,
of the matter is that...
The report doesn't mention Ken Ofori-Atta?
No.
It doesn't mention Nana Addo?
Our report is not in that...
It doesn't mention Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh?
No.
Okay, it doesn't mention Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
No, it is Global Info Analytics you just read. So that's not our report.
I'm trying to get a scoop. You should not give me a scoop.
That is not our report you read. So the truth is that
right.
the sum total is that we know we have work to do.
Okay.
The NDC were here some years ago, 8 years ago. They had to go through a process. They did pretty much the same thing. It's normal. It's normal. Yes, the post-mortem assessment is good. It's good for life.
Okay.
I do that every morning. Before I get up, I see what happened yesterday in the rear and see what am I going to do today to improve things, manage my tab better, improve this and do that. It's just regular human conduct to do that. So now we have that report. We're going to work to implement it and see that the things that he encourages us to do, we do them. That he says we should suppress, we'll suppress.
Okay.
And I believe that when all of these things are done, the New Patriotic Party will stand again resolute and ready to lead Ghana again.
All right, just do me a favor and send me a copy of the report. I can promise you that I will share it with Hamza.
Absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'll send you something, but if you see it, if it's a report, you can tell me.
Hamza, what do you feel yourself? Or you peep into the
on this note, I'll decide how to use my the first 3 minutes of my time.
No problem.
Just to quickly make some
quick
rebuttals.
Right.
First of all, I think that when we promised that we're going to establish the Women Development Bank, we never said that we're going to provide the capital requirements in a matter of 123 days. There's a huge difference between capital adequacy ratio in terms of capital requirements for the establishment of a bank and seed money for the processes that would lead to the eventual establishment of the bank. And that was the promise we made. Right. And that is the reason why we have made available 50 million Ghana cedis. It has nothing to do with capital adequacy ratio requirement. It is simply in line with our plan to at least putting the framework in place and getting the necessary building blocks for us to be able to meet these capital adequacy ratio requirements. Then, quickly on the issue of Galamsey, I think that I was impressed by the question you asked him. What shows that what data suggests that the fight against Galamsey is struggling to an extent that it has become worse under our regime? Absolutely not. But we have impressive records to show in terms of data. Before we came into office, about 43 forests were under siege. Today, we are happy to announce that at least we have been able to reclaim in excess of 7 or 9 of them, largely because of our efforts in that sector. Not long ago, I think about a day or two ago, you notice that in the Subri catchment area, we've been able to discover a full community that was engulfed in illegal mining in our forest reserves. For 8 years, they failed to appreciate that there was an existence of such a community. And if they knew about the existence of that community, then clearly they were accomplices in terms of protecting these inhabitants. So these are gameful efforts that the government has shown in terms of its commitment to the fight against illegal mining and mining our forest reserves. But you see, Moro, as for the new patriotic party and the time-wasted effort trying to find the reasons why they lost the last election.
Time-wasted effort?
It is time-wasted.
But you
because
did the same thing.
I'll get there, and I'll tell you why I feel there is a time. You see, the circumstances are entirely different.
Tell me what the difference is.
Look, we had a sitting president who took over from a president, the late President Mills, of course. And then we had internal issues to resolve within the party. Yeah. And many of us believe that largely because of the nature of the transition that happened between the late President Mills and that of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, it contributed hugely to our defeat. So there was the need for us to understand what was going on. It had nothing to do with the psychology or persuasion of the party then. So when we did it, they were mocking us. Today, they decided to copy from the NDC's hymn books, and they're even copying it wrongly. And I can sit here and confidently and eruditely tell them why they lost that last election. Moro, you see, you were dealing with a leader who for almost over a decade decided to change the psychology of your party. And here I'm making reference to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Remember, since 2007, Nana Addo has been at the helm of affairs of the party. And so he succeeded in changing the thinking pattern of the party and moved the MPP from a party that was initially attractive to intelligence, academia, and if you like, the business community, to a party that suddenly assumed an arrogant posture to reflect his personality, where even dissent was not entertained when he was running a flag bearer, even in opposition. So your problem started way back, even before Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president. You failed to identify these red spots. And at the time, the NDC was pointing it out to you and said that, look, this is not just about the future of the new patriotic party, it is also about the future of Ghana's democracy. You defended that taggery, that arrogant posture, even in opposition, where a chunk of your party leaders were chased out of the party head office. Your regional chairmen were harassed. In fact, as a result of that, one of them, unfortunately, was murdered, largely because of the politics of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his cabal within the new patriotic party. So, Moro, you emboldened the man, and he took that attitude into government. And when he got into government, the government was run by 3 people. We all know that. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Gabi Ochridako, and the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. So for over a decade, these guys shaped the philosophy of the new patriotic party. So the first step is for you to reorient your minds and get yourself out of that arrogant posture. Because you just demonstrated same here. Did you listen to him when he said that, oh, the flag servers is our seat and the parliamentary seat, so we are going to take our seats back? Those seats belong to the good people of this country, and they decide through elections who to give the honor of serving them. It does not belong to the new patriotic party.
But Hamza, if he sees those seats as a traditional NPP seat, and he says
is a Flagstaff, is a Jubilee House, but he made mention to that. I'm making reference to it. He said it belongs to them. They will take theirs.
Oh, you mentioned Flagstaff House as your seat?
Yes, the presidency. He mentioned that.
You mentioned that?
But you see, are you going to introduce him into them?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Let me
Moro,
he's being mischievous.
Moro, I'm not.
Carry on.
Tomorrow, again, you see, so their first tax is actually not, they don't need a report to be told that they need to take away that poison chalice that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo succeeded in subjecting them to over the last 8 years. In fact, over the last 16 years, rather. Because 8 years in opposition and 8 years in government. Over a decade. Moro, you see, when they were doing the press conference, I looked at the table and I was like, my goodness God, these guys don't learn any useful lessons. These are still remnants of the Nana Addo legacy. These are the very people that the MPP people are worried about. These are them. They still feel that they are relevant to the politics of the MPP. Any true transformation that fails to sweep off the Nana Addo poison chalice from their parliamentary leadership to the party level, they would be unsuccessful at any attempt to truly transform their party. The likes of Pepe Nyomakin and Co. are all Nana Addo's induced leadership before he left. They know as a party that they did not have the luxury of choice to determine who lead them or who had the opportunity to sit at the front bench of parliament. It was done by Nana Addo before he left. The party level, still under his beck and call. So that is the kind of problem they have. If the party truly wants to make a transformative change in its operations, there is the need for the likes of my brother here to be shown the exit and allow new blood with a better understanding. Unfortunately, I have to tell him that.
You want your friend to be sacked?
No, but they need to move. They need to make way. The party is yearning for change. And the last election, he is. That's why I'm saying that, unfortunately, there are better roles for him to play, but not to be at the party head office. Because, you see, they all contributed to that mess. And I'm sure the MPP people out there hold them responsible. So you don't need a report to tell you that. And you see, my brother, I listened to Afenyo Markin also make references to the fact that the NDC is engaged in a scheme to oust the Chief Justice. Unbelievable. So that again, once again, is a reflection of the choice that they gave to the good people of this country. We've all seen his conduct since he assumed the leadership role, first as majority leader and subsequently as minority leader, meaning minority leader in parliament. We've seen his conduct. This is not a conduct that we can be proud of. And I'm sure well-meaning MPP people are beginning to question his sense of judgment and leadership ability when it comes to leading the MPP's bench. And these are the people who are leading the party today. There's the need for a change. He is a lawyer. He knows that whatever action we take in this country, especially when it comes to the three arms of government, clearly governed by our Constitution, 1992. And under Article 146, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana prescribes a procedure for citizens of this country to take advantage of at any point in time they feel that the Chief Justice is not living according to the dictates of her mandate or his mandate. So if responsible Ghanaians, not one, not two, not three, three Ghanaians we are told, decided to take advantage of that constitutional provision to call for the removal of the Chief Justice, how is that connected to the National Democratic Congress? Does he think that the laws in our Constitution are simply meant to be opened, admired, and closed again? Every constitutional provision is capable of being taken advantage of by the good people of this country if they feel strongly about it.
Okay.
So if Ghanaians decide to take advantage of that constitutional provision, he shouldn't complain. After all, we did not put those laws in our law courts, in our constitution, simply because we wanted to admire it from time to time.
All right.
So, Moro, please let my brother know that the reality is that their number one challenge has to do with a president who has changed the persuasion of the MPP for over a decade.
Okay.
Ably assisted by a man who, quite incidentally and interestingly, has earned the reputation of not being trustworthy. And I'm here making reference to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We did not put that on him. It is simply difficult for Ghanaians to accept that this is a truthful candidate. And remember, somewhere in 2016, His Excellency President Mahama said something profound. When he cautioned that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should be careful of his promises and the things he was saying about the economy, because he had not had the opportunity yet to be president or vice president. We saw it happen.
Okay.
Prophetic.
So, all right.
Today, he is being hunted by his own words and actions whilst he was in opposition and even subsequently in government. So my plea to them is, look, they should spare Ghanaians this hassle of having to waste time discussing the internal happenings of the New Patriotic Party. They should do the needful. The likes of the General Secretary, the party chairman, and finally, Moro, look, I'm a proponent of freedom of expression, especially not under a minute when it comes to the role of the media in our politics. We cannot end this show without condemning what they did to the TV3 reporter. That is unacceptable. It could be Metro TV tomorrow. And the Ghana Journalists Association must signal to the MPP that they would not entertain that. And they can only do so by releasing a statement today directing all media houses to boycott their activities until they apologize to the TV3 journalists. This is how we can help strengthen the fourth estate as far as our democratic process is concerned. We should not allow the NPP to get away with this because this is clearly unacceptable.
I also thought that it wasn't tidy. It could have been done better. But Kojo Chumboafu, I have no, just a quick one. I'll bring you.
You have read Kojo already. Kojo is sitting somewhere. Kojo should come and sit here. Should come and sit here.
So no, he's admiring you.
No problem, but I should come and sit here.
He's praising you. Oh, for the first time, the man is praising you. You don't always read it. If
I don't read it, my friend. Okay. He's always at something.
So he says, please tell Richard to stop blowing gasket.
And that you are not correct, Moro. You are not correct. how is that doing my bidding?
He says there is a steam coming out of the forehead, and that Ghanaians are enamored with the concept of a scandal-free government. Good morning, Hamza.
Good morning.
And let me do this other one quickly. So Musa Abatwa, so I said, good morning, Ebora. I essentially agree with Hamza Sweeney. We don't need the MPP to officially announce their miserable defeat. It's already public knowledge. Ghanaians rejected arrogance, corruption, and blatant nepotism that define the rule. That said, Minority Leader Fenyo Makin's comment about removing the Chief Justice is not good. It is not necessary. Or is it that blood wasn't running through Salotose's veins when she was hounded out of office? Hypocrisy and dishonesty from the highest level. Yes, please go ahead.
You know, two things. So let me just advise my brother. Professor John Evans Atta-Mills was right the last time and is right today. May his soul rest in peace when he said, everything he's saying, I'm not sure where he's going with it. He's pointing fingers and four is pointing back at him, saying that, the executives might be shown the exit. Does he remember what his general secretary, now chairman, said when they lost?
Right.
In 2016?
Right.
He said that they shouldn't blame him. They should blame the new crop of people who came.
So let your general secretary
Hold on. So when you are saying these things, you have to remember your history because you have it and we can refer to it. When they lost miserably, who was the president who lost up the election? Is it not the same person? They brought one, they brought two, and they brought three? Is that the same person? So what is he talking about that people should be shown exit because what? This whole business of Akufo-Addo, hasn't President Mahama captured their party? Huh? To where the venerable Dr. Adufo can't have space to contest him? They muscle him out. Anybody who wants to contest is hounded. Huh? They created, the party just handed him the seat. If you came up to contest John Dramani Mahama, you are in for trouble. So what is he talking about? I said, Nketia was the agenda secretary. Now he's the chairman. Where did he go? In the 80s, where did he go? Where did he go?
Okay.
You understand? Right. So please, we won't take that advice. The best thing that he needs to take is the advice from former President John Atta-Mills. Number two, advise my brother that seed money doesn't establish a bank. The promise they made in their manifesto is to establish Women's Development Bank. So when you bring seed money, that is not equal to establishing a bank. Okay. Seed money don't establish a bank. Okay. Period. Okay. Okay? And also, my brother, this poison challenge is talking about Kufado. I just told him in his party, they have worse. Is there anything worse than poison? Can you tell me? But let's just create a concept that there's something worse than poison. That's what the NDC has. Okay? What we have done, we are a democratic party. We have listened across the board. Okay. We are going to rebuild our party based on these recommendations. Okay. The NDC should just sit and watch. Their problem should not be us. Okay. They should worry about the promises that they have made that they cannot keep. Okay. They trick people into believing they can do A, B, C, D. Even women of our country who had hopes in them, they have deceived. All right. And now to the Chief Justice matter. I am completely scandalized that I am not seeing an outrage on the street. Why? An outrage on the street. We have had, I think my brother Solai probably have an idea. We have had easily about 15 Chief Justices in our history, right? 3 of them, women out of the 15. All of them appointed by an MPP president. The NDC is going to earn themselves the tag as the government, as the party that targeted the woman CJ and took her out.
Are you going to give me the right of reply?
How is the NDC targeting her?
This whole thing
it's
about
gender blackmail.
No, well, call it whatever. But everything you said was political blackmail. So if anything is like that, then that's what it is.
How's the NDC targeting her?
Look, what are the issues against the Chief Justice?
We don't know.
The readings we have done.
No, we don't know.
Yeah, I know we don't know, but the readings we have done, they are matters. But
it's highly speculative. You don't do speculative
no problem,
stuff.
but that's why I'm not saying it's factual. I say the readings we have done, they are not significant issues. Yeah, but that warrant the breach of institutional independence.
So until we get,
in a manner, hold on. I'm saying that they don't warrant. Has she killed anybody in this country? You have seen her work. Has she killed anybody? Okay. Has she proven she has infirmity of body or mind to be able to do the job? Has she done anything egregious to us to breach the Constitution? Just have to take all options off the table except to remove her from office. We don't know. I'm just telling you that she has not done those things. If she has done those, you don't need to know. You will just know.
What Charlotte say, man?
Charlotte was a woman, but you see, here's the thing.
Sometimes this level of hypocrisy.
No, it's not hypocrisy, my brother. It's okay. We'll have a nice chat. You see, the point about Charlotte say that they conveniently don't want to say, the quest to remove Charlotte say originated from the EC. It was not induced from without. It was from within. Okay. It was from the commissioners themselves blaming each other. Okay. That led to that petition. Okay, so it is not comparable to this.
Have you seen the contents of the current 3 petitions against the Chief Justice? How are you able to tell that we don't have cooperatives from the Judiciary?
He said based on readings.
I kept asking whether he said readings.
Which is speculative. Hold on. And everything you have said is not factual.
It's factual because I back it up. I challenge you to the facts. My brother,
you have not provided any facts.
You have failed to provide facts.
Well, I don't have to provide the facts to you. I'm just letting you know.
Give me an example. Show me evidence.
Allow me to speak. The point I'm telling you, here's the fact. One.
You don't know the fact. You haven't seen the petition. I've not seen it.
I haven't claimed that I've seen it.
So clearly, so don't run on the basis of conjecture. That's why I'm telling you that this is a serious platform. So it is not acceptable for you to run on serious platform on the basis of conjecture.
You are about to do something that is going to breach institutional independence. The judiciary is an equal arm of government. Okay?
Why are you
the executive, the legislature.
I want to get the connection.
I am just telling you that.
How are you connecting this to the NDC?
I'm just telling you.
And the Electoral Commission is the trunk that holds the branches of government. If you understand democratic practice.
No problem.
See the Electoral Commission, Moro, it acts as the trunk of the branches of government we are talking about. You decided to cut down in an unethical manner that trunk. And in the process,
he's spoiling the program anyway. But just hold on. We've had a good chat. You see, the point is that I've told him something that's incontrovertible. That with the EC thing that is talking, the trunk or whatever it is that is talking, was originated from within. They themselves created their fall. Okay, so the president was a conveyor belt. He's done that.
We are saying that. Question. Why we are saying that we are having to deal with today? We don't have the person from the judiciary also filing a petition.
So time is out. The petitions, from what we have seen so far,
they'll take us off.
They are not. Yeah, the
Richard, you know why?
Who are those people? You don't know.
Richard, the difficulty is that we've not seen the petition. So let's not proceed from there.
Moro, we have done readings. We have done readings.
No, have you seen the petition?
I'm saying that we have done readings.
No, but you've not seen the petition.
That matter.
Okay,
but
so
the substantial point I'm making.
Take us off.
No, just 1 second. The substantial point I'm making to you is that the Justice Gertrude Tokonu has not done anything that you will say she merits being removed.
No, I don't know.
And
You
don't know.
saying
that these micro things that they are trying to blow up to become an issue. That for
why
me
don't you wait till you see the petition?
It's a breach
All right.
of our
So Richard Hayagba, somebody's accusing. So Richard Hayagba is partly blamed in the Michael Quays-led report in page 22. I says, I am Gideon. I says page 22. So this was Evans Dinku from Garu says, good morning. Richard has just reminded me about President Nana Akufo-Addo